Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Dudesquawk. OzFrank Sepia TV, as in seeping into your soul, baby. And tonight, myself, John Nobbs, is talking with Rachel Blake, a teacher, a school teacher, high school teacher from Sydney, who's just recently done a 9-day.
10-day.
10-day workshop with us.
Well, it was 9 days.
Yeah, I think it's 9. And we're going to talk about the FSAK, as we always do, and she's going to propose a few things, etc. So, fire away.
Okay. I read today that Suzuki said his is the way of achieving objective self-assessment and awareness, and his way of learning how to behave with greater consciousness. And it immediately made me realise you use the word consciousness, and it's very important to going beyond the mind and the body to this concept of spirit.
Yes, yes.
So I'd like you to tell me a little bit more about how you get beginners to go from mind and body to
separated mind and body to connected mind and body, and well, the spirit's the connecting thing that probably connects the mind and the body. What we find with the training, especially the exercises which have say elements of exhaustion, extremity about them, is that the conscious, the mind, and we're talking about the mind in this context, it's the rational brain, the ego, the conscious mind, can't really deal with pain and can't deal with extremity. So it just basically goes, I don't know about this, I'm going home, metaphorically, and the spirit just says, well, let's just go a little step further, we'll just keep doing we'll just do one more step and see what happens. So that spiritual desire is actually the crowbar that pulls the talent into the room. So rather than the mind trying to impose talent on the body, the body spirit actually says, we'll just do another couple and see what happens. And, we might fall apart, we'll just do another couple. And it's that intent, that spiritual intent, that actually creates the moral imperative that actually makes the actor more talented, more equipped. And by doing that, you unify the body and the voice, especially the body and the voice, the physicality of the body with the actual all quality of the voice, and they become actually connected. And they become connected because of actually all the other stuff. With the exhaustion of the body, it means you just have enough energy to survive, and you just have enough energy to do what you have to do. You can't do the overlays that you might think or want to do. You've only got enough energy to actually do the thing. So that's where the spiritual strength comes in, and we posit that you can actually come to this stuff with absolutely no skills whatsoever, but you have to have a strong spirit to do it. And the thing is that it doesn't create a spirit, of course, because you can actually see people come and they might be weak of body and voice, but they've got a strong spirit. You just rise through the thing, and other people who've got a lot of talent can actually fall back because their spirit's not as strong. So it's really the spirit's the arbiter, and the exercise, most of whom have been developed by Suzuki, really. Most of the exercises which deal in terms of those extremities really are Suzuki's exercises, like the stomp and the agitated 10. And they are designed, I believe, to actually get the spirit, to put the sort of conscious mind out of the way, so the spirit can actually take over and drag this other stuff into the room.
And be more honest. Yeah,
well, that's part of the thing is the honesty, because you can't, spirit can't deal with fakery anyway. With the ego can. It'll sort of, well, I think we should do this, but the spirit's, well, it's really honest, I guess.
One thing that helped me make inroads to consciousness was when you were talking a couple of days ago, and we were talking about your chapter about Greta Garbo. And we can probably cut to a clip now here of
yes, we will.
The
Garbo
film moment
Queen
where
Christina,
she's
leaving Stockholm Harbour. Yep.
The steering helm, steering into
I
what
think she's on the bow. Actually, she's on the bow.
Oh, she's on the bow. I thought she was steering.
No, she's on the bow, and
she's not at the helm. She's
leaving. No, she's not. She didn't do that. She's got other guys to do that. And she's leaving Stockholm to go to Spain to join her betrothed Spanish nobleman husband to be. So
we see that beautiful
openness
moment, and we know that she was told by the director.
The story is that, of course, you're watching this thing. This woman has actually abdicated her throne. It's not really a true story. It's pretty close to a true story, as it is. But she abdicated her throne because she met this Spanish nobleman, decided to sort of forego everything, being Queen of Sweden, she decides to forego all that, go to Spain and marry, live happily ever after in, I guess, the rolling hills of Andalusia or something. So of course she's done this, she's abdicated. He's trotted off to Spain already, so to prepare for the wedding. So she's leaving Sweden on her own to go to Spain, and of course in this position everybody knows just what she must be thinking. There'd be all the fears and hopes, positive and negative thoughts that must be rushing through her brain as she leaves, having done such a momentous thing. She's now leaving one life and going to start another completely new life. So of course she's thinking all sorts of, will he love me tomorrow, was this a stupid idea, etc, etc, etc. There's hundreds of them. And
is there a storm ahead?
Well, yeah, everything. And so she asked the director, Ruben Mamoulian, what she should think, and he said, think of nothing. So of course here she is thinking of being a blank canvas, so to speak. And of course all the audience then interposes into her, the sort of interpolates into her what sort of thoughts they might be thinking. So of course this is this incredible moment where her, at the end of the film, actually unifies all the audience watching that film, because they all go through the same things together whilst watching her. So she's the shaman that pulls it all together. And
it's that discussion that helped me in training. Stop going into, not a trance state, but that not seeing the audience and not really looking out and having a motive or a, well, not so much a motive, but to go into that void where maybe consciousness or unconscious can filter through and not necessarily get in the way.
Well, I think in the sense, I guess the key to that, to her role in that film is the fact that she's very still. The wind's blowing in her hair, but she's very still. So of course the audience has a chance to really think what's going on here. And that stillness is not an emptiness so much as a sense of fullness, where her stasis is born of a whole series of forces coming into her from all sorts of angles, and so the stillness is actually full of stuff, so full that it can't move, so to speak. And that's what gives it the type of energy which empowers the person, so that the audience can actually look into that. If they're still, as in empty, as in dead, you couldn't actually interpolate any thoughts into that. So that stillness is very important, and that stillness is born of a whole series of forces which come to a neutral in you as the actor in that moment. So the idea really is that because your conscious mind is doing something very practical, as in terms of I'm going to be still, that allows your unconscious mind to actually go through its permutations, and they're the sort of things, I guess you could say, flicker through your eyes, and that's what the audience reads, and that's what makes you interesting to watch, because you're not demanding that the audience think something, you're actually creating a space where they can actually then reach into you and participate in your experience, and then have their own thoughts, have their own feelings, if you like.
What was that thing that you said about, we were talking about politicians, and then you said something about good speakers and great actors?
I read somewhere that great public speakers are trying to convince themselves.
Yeah.
Not so much the audience they're addressing, but themselves. Because I was talking about the fact in the early days of the training, we would get people to sit around and actually on the floor and feel that their speech is actually reaching into their centre.
So when this is with text work, when you're an actor, the stillness and the conviction to yourself makes you this incredibly powerful.
Yes, it does, because we call this thing self-definition. The more things you do that make you more Rachel or more John, actually make you more convincing. If you look at a great film actor like someone like John Wayne, who wasn't so much an actor as a monolith in a way, he was very, very, very John Wayne, always. And so you identified with that very much, because you were very secure in that sort of, you knew who he was, and what he said he was the same as what he was too. So what we call self-definition is really important. Your voice is not just an idea. And people think the voice in intellectual terms, that you're conveying this idea, these words, these literary concepts, which of course is true. They exist as words on the page. But what you bring to them is a physical reality, and so you've got to see your voice not so much as a series of intellectual sort of blobs, but they're actually physical energy that's coming out. And that's what breaches the distance between you and the observer, you and the audience. So you see yourself in those terms. So you say to yourself, well, my voice is actually going to talk down here, and it's actually going to talk out there as well. So this idea that I'm convincing myself of talking to myself, my centre, my body, at the same time as I'm actually reaching out to the observer, to the audience.
One thing that I loved about being here and about Suzuki's way is in between training exercises, we might go to a certain area of the room, and instead of chatting to each other, which is what we do in modern life, we disintegrate into,
that's right, you break
my shoulder's hurting, or what are you doing Friday night, or like, you know, are you painting the sets tomorrow, or whatever. You go straight to your position and you prepare yourself, and you have the time to give to yourself.
Well, it's very important to have a powerful experience, and we expect that all of those exercises were powerful experiences both for yourself and also as the observer to watch them. But after that moment, there's a moment of repose where you actually got to allow that whole energy to settle into the body. And so that should not be, so we say, compromised by sort of chat, and going and having yourself a cigarette and just talking to people, because really you're actually not dealing with that thing. Now, of course, this is a moment of quietness, really. It's not some big deal. We don't sort of meditate and do it very, very loudly or overtly. But the idea is that you just quietly go and just do your stuff, and you might talk about something or some issue. But it's got a sense of quietude about it, because that's you actually, in some ways, allowing the stuff to sort of seep into your body and resonate with your body.
Yeah.
I might be giving an exercise and I'll say something odd or challenging, and you can feel the frisson in the room from everybody saying, wow, what's that mean? Oh, I've got to do this. And it's an unspoken energy that happens. So you can see a certain amount of that, and that's obviously...
It's a high alertness.
Yeah.
And this desire to, what's next? The anticipation.
That's right, the anticipation.
Is so exciting.
And it's also the space between me as teacher or me as director and the actors. There's actually a space there.
Yeah.
I sort of lob in this little grenade of some sometimes very odd, sometimes quite sort of, what's the word, say, lateral, sort of non-logical things, like sort of hop around or something. And that's a creative sort of
dance the floor.
Dance the floor, yeah. So things like that.
Put a box on someone else's box.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? I've never thought of that before. It's quite instinctive. I just thought, do that, and of course then everybody's going, well, what? And
I so very carefully put my box under someone else's to make it easy for them.
That's
you
right.
said, you brought order to what I wanted was chaos.
But the thing was watching the way you guys deal with that, really, because of course it's a nonsensical thing inside a very powerful structure.
You saw the real penny drop moment, didn't you? Where you went, what I was actually asking you to do was this, and you saw all of us go, oh.
But then, that wasn't really important, of course. The importance was actually how you dealt with this shift in perception.
Yes.
And of course the doubt, or the, shall I say, the variegation nature of the actual space creates this incredible frisson of energy. And of course that's the gift. That's the actual, that's the thing it makes, because it gives you this sense of the knowledge and mystery that I often talk about, where you know something and you're doing something and you go, well, maybe I should be doing, oh, what do I do? But of course you can't drop the bottle, you can't drop the speech. And so this creates a very, very amazing dynamic, and that's, you multiply that by 10 when you see someone like Suzuki do that, really, because it's a much more experienced situation, and the aesthetic itself is, 20, 30 years further down the track.
What do you see when we did it the first time and we think we're doing it right, and then you explain where we could have gone, or not so much, you didn't explain it, you just sort of said what I said was. Then we tried it again, having realised that it's a much more challenging concept. And we go into that exploratory mode, and we have to maintain a central focus ahead of us. We're walking sideways behind us, trying to find a box that we can't see. And we're literally using our senses and feeling our way. What do you see on our faces that's different?
Well, I see this. You see this. It's a certain look which is actually potential. Like what's going to happen? And so the face isn't sort of fixed in something. I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to trot over there, and I'm going to do this thing, and I'm pretty good at standing still or whatever. I see this thing of, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? So you can feel that all of you are actually exploring space. You actually, this is actually a form. This is like Columbus going across the sea. This is actually looking for stuff, and that's what's incredibly exciting to watch, because you see this type of energy. You don't know what's going to happen. You've got enough skills so that you're not going to look dopey when you do it, because that's crucial too. You can't ask this thing of people until they've achieved the level of competence, shall we say. But once they've achieved the level of competence, you actually have to ask this stuff, because you have to take it to another place, by definition. And that other place can't be just, oh, do it more, or do it bigger. It's got to be another level of, it's like a shell in an atom. It's got to be another level of the shell. And that, so what I'm seeing there, it's not so much like very talented people. I'm seeing this other shift of, oh, what's going to happen if I do, oh, so maybe, and she's over there and I'm going to go here. I might go a little bit like that, and to see what's going to happen. So it's all this sense of to see what's going to happen.
And the not knowing is interesting to watch.
It's very important, yeah.
Yeah, it's a mystery that you talk about.
It's a mystery, and we can feel this, I guess.
But yet it seems to be controlled.
Well, most people looking at it go, gee, these guys are really together. They must rehearse it. We go, no, they don't, but they're just very sensitive to each other. So it's really heightened sensitivity.
Yes.
And that's what potential, and that's
something you have to train for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to train for the context. You have to be able to feel it. Like,